Everybody, this is Perch. Everybody wants different things out of comics. There's always this kind of natural growing desire to see things, do different things. Here's a viewer who has a suggestion for comics or a question. Let's get right to that. Pardon me. I am getting a cold. Okay, here we go. It says, hey, Perch. Thank you for everything you do. Appreciate your show. Sometimes I don't agree with you, but that's okay. That is okay. All right. I have a question about superheroes. Namely, why don't more superheroes break bad? Why don't more superheroes lose their minds, go on violent destruction, and just start killing everyone? It would make sense in their job, and quite frankly, I think it would be a lot more entertaining than what is in current comic books today. For example, one day Superman is just flying around Metropolis trying to save people. And instead he thinks, why am I dealing with this shit? And he just goes, flies down and chops some people in half or rapes some, good Lord, or rapes some people, okay? I think this would be more realistic of what superheroes would actually be like if they were real in, goddamn, and in the real life universe, okay? What do you think? I think this would make comics much more entertaining. Huh. Okay. See, I'm not even sure where to go with this. First off, you hang on. You really want to see Superman just flying around chopping people up and raping people, huh? I mean, is that really, you really want to see that? Because I don't want to see that. I don't think, I mean, that we read Superman because he's this idealized, always does the right thing, stands up for what's right. Like part of the magic, I guess, I don't know if magic's the right word of it, but like he gets red kryptonite and he turns into a dick. And, you know, you're like, oh, this is not a Superman we know. Somebody's got to stop this guy. Like, I mean, there's those moments where, I don't know if people are like sitting around really hoping for that red kryptonite storyline. They like, it's used as a problem. Like, what if, you know, the strongest superhero in the world, you know, snapped and went crazy and started to do dodgy shit and, you know, had to be stopped. That would be pretty brutal. I don't think it's meant to be a escapist fantasy. I want to be careful here. I'm not saying you want to read a comic, but you kind of are saying that you just want to read a comic where that's going on. I mean, no, okay, we have seen those comics. So whether it's you know, some of the what you know, Mark Miller has done, I think he touches on these things from time to time. What happens if a superhero goes bad? What happens if the hero, like Jupiter's Legacy, certain aspects of that, what if they took over, just became really corrupt? We've seen things with the Authority, certainly, that kind of touch on this. I mean, this isn't what Mark Waid did, Irredeemable. There's been comics where, you know, the superhero, the Superman-like character, super strong character, you know, snaps, does bad things, chaos. And I think it works fine as a comic where, you know, that's kind of the whole point. The whole point is to tell the story as almost a cautionary tale. What if the superheroes were supposed to protect us, supposed to, you know, always do the right thing? What if instead, you know, they became bastards? You know, what would that be like? I think that you could do those stories. I think they have done those stories. I think that could be fine. But I think anytime you do that, it's you know, you have to do it in its own little universe. It's a one-way street. I think if you suddenly, you know, decided to make Superman a rapist, I mean, there is no Superman story after that. There's no coming back from Red Dawn. That's terrible. I mean, that would be the end for the character. The character would have to be killed, replaced with a new version. They would have to, I don't know, they couldn't even really run the story of like Superman was mind controlled, because the DC universe would be idiots to let this, you know, if Superman was able to be flipped, flew around just murdering people and raping people, you know, he couldn't continue to exist. Batman, Flash, the other characters would have to be like, well, you know, we're gonna have to put him down, even if he was, you know, even if he allowed himself to be manipulated. You know, we can't have this happen, and that's why comics don't touch on this as a topic in the mainstream. You can't, like, you could do Red Kryptonite, but even under Red Kryptonite, Superman's like not viciously raping people. Like that's not what he is doing. That would be horrible on all levels. Or any of these characters. You can't have the Flash running around doing that either, or you know, Captain Marvel, or gosh, whatever. You can't have the Hulk couldn't do this. So you could touch upon this stuff like in the Ultimates. You can have the characters do different things. You can have like Bruce Banner, the Hulk in the Ultimates, you know, eat people and you know, kind of be a cannibal. And but then also in that comic, you have to deal with the fact that, you know, he's in prison. You can't really be running around. He's a constant threat, and ultimately, you can't have like a Hulk comic book. Like when they had the Hulk be a cannibal in the Ultimates, you know, that kind of ended the ability for Marvel to put out a Ultimate Hulk. I know they did Ultimate Hulk, Wolverine, and everything else. They could do little, but you can't have an ongoing title with a major kind of superhero good guy character where, you know, you've run a storyline of murder and rape. You're done at that point. But I guess, I mean, not to make too big a deal out of it, but again, I go back to, like, why do you want that? To be honest, I mean, if you're there to read superhero books, you know, you're reading a superhero comic which is meant to be kind of heroic stories about the best of us doing, you know, these kinds of deeds, having to find a way to figure out how to stop villains under any circumstances. You're reading it for a reason, and if that superhero book, you know, if let's say it's Green Lantern, okay, if old Hal Jordan decides, you know, not just, well, it's like, look when he became Parallax and kind of snapped, killed a bunch of people. They didn't just continue the comic with him that way. They had to go through a long arc of bringing Kyle, having John Stewart involved, to the Green Lantern Corps, redeeming him, you know, a decade or more later. And they had to go through all these kind of gymnastics to bring the hero back. And even then, that, you know, the Jeff Johns series, which was good, it was a good series and everything, but it does rely a little bit on you just kind of forgetting. They explained what happened, you know, Parallax's infection and all the rest. They explained it away, but at the same time, you are far enough away from it. You've distanced yourself enough from it that, you know, you can skate over the fact that, you know, millions of people maybe, or I don't know how many people did Hal Jordan kill. Anyway, lots and lots of people Hal Jordan brutally murdered. And so if you keep that too close to the surface, it doesn't work anymore. So I think that what you're asking for breaks comics. It breaks superhero comics. I think it's completely, you know, the opposite of what a superhero book can be. So if you were to do you know, if you were to do a title like that, I think you have to do it like like what Wade did with Irredeemable, or what Mark Miller does in books. You could do it in a little limited series, but you can't just have that happen in like Captain America or Superman or anything like that. It just, at that point, you're done with the character. You have to move on. That's the storyline you wrote, you know, you put out there when you want to eliminate the character from continuity and just, or, you know, from history, and you want to replace them with a new one. So if they ever do want to make it like a new Captain Marvel, they're going to retire Carol Danvers. I mean, I guess you could run that storyline where she just flies around snapping people's necks and, you know, loses all of her shit. And then that's how you know, Kamala Khan takes the legacy, I guess, and becomes the new Captain Marvel, and, you know, you call it a day. Is that where they're going, by the way? Do you think that's where they're going with Kamala Khan, that eventually she is Captain Marvel? Because I think the Ms. Marvel gets, you know, that falls apart at some point. So I think that they eventually, Carol has to die and Kamala Khan has to be Captain Marvel. That makes sense, right? I don't know. Anyway, thank you for the mail. I guess I appreciate the question. I'm trying not to read too much into it, but yeah, I don't know. Let's not do that. Maybe I'm the weird one though. Pardon me, Jesus. Maybe I'm the weird one. So you let me know. Thanks for listening.